We don't know. Okay, so we're not claiming to be prophets, not claiming to have insights of the prophetic nature.
Sure.
So according to the sources, that's what we see. And so far, we've been our track record has been reasonable. It's we on some points we might be mistaken. We might have to correct here and there. We have to make corrections or alterations and modifications. So we're going okay as far as we can see. And the end times, we don't know when the end times will take place. We'll progress. We don't know, but it must be soon. I don't know what soon is. Soon could be in a couple of years, could be in 50 years, it could be more. If you go back through the history, you'll see a lot of times in the past, a lot of people were certain that the end times were coming, and they didn't come up. So people were certain, according to what was going on around them, that this was a prophesied end of days, and it did not turn out that way. So too, we only go according to what we see, and according to what we see, I just what I understand. We first of all we combine the Bible, biblical sources, Jewish sources, a biblical appreciation of the Bible, and also our own researches into the biblical text, the Hebrew Bible, according to the literal meaning. Try and bring everything together, okay? And we see that it works. That how you do something, you do research it in science, history, any kind of research. You get an informed impression. Yeah, you get a whole level impression of how things are supposed to work or what's supposed to happen. And then you can assume that if you do such and such a thing, something will come out of it, and that will prove your assumption. Okay? And so in our researches, we also come across a similar phenomenon. We see that things are coming together, things are put in a certain direction, and as a result of that, a certain development should take place, and so far they have done so. Okay, so we'll get on. I'll get on with the talk. I'll get on with the talk to see how things go.
In the end times, so we have he says that the ingathering of the lost 10 tribes, according to the sources, the ingathering of Judah will come before that of the lost 10 tribes. The ingathering of Judah will be preceded by a degree of independence. The Jews, when they come back to the land, will be independent, politically independent, and they will return with the permission of other nations. Okay? And that's what happened. The Jews returned with the permission of other nations, and ingathering, and they were independent. After the ingathering, only a percentage will return to the Holy Land. Then Jerusalem will become under Jewish control and be rebuilt. And after that, more Jews will come, and the Messiah will appear, and the 10 tribes will come back. Okay? So you can understand that according to, and this is backed up with both Jewish sources and the Jewish rabbinical understandings of biblical texts. And we don't know how things will turn out, but it sounds like we're in the middle of this process. It's already begun. This is what is happening. So we can say we're getting there. Might be, and as we saw, things can happen, can take a long time, or they can happen very quickly. Before the USSR, before Russia collapsed, a year or 2 years before then, if you would have said the Russians in another couple of months, the Russians were going to say, we're tired out, we give up, just come in and take us over, you would have thought it's a bit crazy, yeah? But that's what happened. If we had written a book of fiction about that's what Russia would do, it would not have been accepted. But that's what happened. So things sometimes can happen very quickly, much quicker than we would expect according to the normal run of things. So certain processes going behind the scenes, as if to say that we don't understand, but everything is going forward. So we can say that the process of future deliberation of redemption is happening. Okay, so Big B, do you have anything to say? You have a question? Okay.
Okay, great. So I am
I feel like I've been on this path for a long time, but didn't know it. And I met Sylvia a few weeks ago, and she has steered me towards all this wonderful information. I was basically, you know, kind of doing the things without knowing what I was doing. And I'm very new at this and am looking forward to reading the books that I got from you and from James Tabor that are on the way. And I think after I read those books, I might have better questions.
Okay.
I haven't studied in depth like you, but I have read the sources over many years. I'm very just interested to hear how you present it.
Okay. Kitty, do you want to say something?
I'm amazed that there are so few people checked in. It's a lot of trouble for you to go to for the 5 of us.
Okay.
You have to start from somewhere. You got to start from somewhere. And
go ahead and speak. At least we're here. We're ready and waiting.
It's big things start in small places.
I was going to ask a question, but I wanted to hear you speak first. I wanted your take on the election of Binyamin Netanyahu, who is of the correct Davidic line, to be Messiah.
I don't know. First of all, I know that Binyamin Netanyahu is descended from one of his lineages is from David, but I understood his male lineage through his father is from Levi, and from his grandmother or on the mother's side he's from David, and the Messiah has to be all the way from David through the father.
Through the father.
Okay. Through the father, and so therefore he cannot be the future Messiah, apart from other qualifications that he might need to fulfill. But anyway, he's a future prime minister, God willing, and he'll be an improvement of what we had up until now, I hope. And everything is promising for. There's grounds for optimism. Also, I have friends who have heard him speak, who have spoken to him, and he is very positive towards our trend of thinking. Binyamin Netanyahu is positive towards this trend of thought. A friend of mine once attended a talk that he gave on a remembrance day for Order Wingate. Order Wingate was an English soldier who was here before the War of Independence, before the Second World War, and he helped the Jews prepare the Haganah, what became the IDF. Also the Palmach, which was like a commando, a specialized section of frontline troops in the Haganah, and he helped prepare them, he helped train them, he introduced new methods. Later on, he went on to help train the commandos. He was one of the first, the innovators in the British Army of commando forces. He helped train the Chindits in Burma to go behind the Japanese lines and so on, which was one of the factors leading the eventual defeat of Japan in World War II. Before then, he'd also been in Ethiopia, and he'd helped the Ethiopians throw off the Italians who had conquered them. And at all events, in Israel, he was in charge of he was appointed by the British authorities to help train the Jewish forces, and he helped build up the Haganah and train what became the basic structure, the seed which led to the IDF. And there was a day of remembrance for him, and Binyamin Netanyahu was there, and he spoke of him, he spoke in favor of him, and he said it's not a coincidence that Order Wingate was a great student of the Bible, believed in the Bible, believed in the Jewish people, believed in biblical prophecy, and he was instrumental in helping found the state of Israel. What the state of Israel is now owes a great debt to him and is recognized in Israel in general. And Binyamin Netanyahu was there. He was there. He was very conscious of this. He's known to be that way orientated. So we can say, we can assume he is positive about our line of work and about our line of thought. And he himself is his father is a Levi. He's a Levi, a lineage from the late Levites. Is favorable towards religion. His father, his father-in-law, spent the last days of his life as a guest in his house, in the guest of the house of Binyamin Netanyahu and his wife, learning Torah until the day he died, just learning Torah. Also, one of his sons got the second place in the World Biblical Quiz. And he himself and his grandfather was a rabbi in Poland. And he himself is very close to religious figures, Orthodox religious figures in Israel.